After a bit of a hiatus, I find myself pursuing my master skin for the Fae. Now I'm about a quarter of the way into level 9. However, most of my levels have been on Legacy. So I've been a true Legacy Fae player, and it's been a bit of a struggle for me transitioning from Legacy gameplay to Monolith gameplay with the Fae. And it's just that I haven't found what position really fits my style of play up until recently. So most of my struggles were finding where I could play her successfully and tinkering with my builds, my deck builds, to make them optimal for the experience. Now I tried off lane to start off, struggled there. Then I switched over to mid lane, had a little bit more success. Didn't find my calling with either of those. And then I said, hey, you know what? I've been playing a lot of support. Why don't I try her in the support role? And that moment is when things started to really click and pick up for me, playing her in the duo lane as a true support. Now, for those that have watched my gameplay, I tend to play rather aggressive as a support in general. That's just my style. My Narbash and Decker play rely heavily on my ability to land successful thunks or stasis bombs, respectively, for those stuns, so I can then push up, deal some more damage, and hopefully bully folks out of the lane early game. Now, I don't quite have that luxury with the Fae, with the stuns, though I could use her ultimate Fly Trap to be the stun every team needs, but they don't quite deserve because it's not a true stun. So the Fae has a different flow when playing her as a support. She can dish out quite a bit of damage. Okay, her zone control can be quite devastating. If you use Bramble Patch plus Fly Trap and then Untamed Growth, you can lock somebody down in an area. But boy, oh boy, you do not want to get caught off guard because you're going to have to use your Bramble Patch to get away and people can still pursue you. So you have to be very conscious of your surroundings when you play her. And that's one of the things that I've noticed, is that I seem like I have a heightened sense of awareness of my surroundings, where I'm warding, my teammates' positioning, my own positioning, and if I need to throw out a Bramble Patch to run away, what's the quickest route I can get to safety? I've had some pretty crazy jukes so far with her having very little health and using a combination of my abilities to get away, where I would normally thunk somebody and just continue to back up. I can't quite do that with the Fae, so you have to be creative when creating space and separation from enemies or peeling. So early game, I'm doing my bully work on the offlaner, and this should come as no surprise. Again, I play very aggressively, but what I love about the Fae is that you can basically harass enemies for free using Harvest Nettles because it restores mana when it lands on a hero. So it has extended range versus your basic attack, and it's on a low cooldown for repeated use. So it's my first pickup at level 1 all the time, and I'm basically waiting. I'm just sitting there waiting for you to push up, and then I'm going to start hitting you with a combination of Harvest Nettles and my basic attacks, and then once I hit level 2, I'll start throwing in some Bramble Patches in there as well. I consider Harvest Nettles to be the bread and butter of what makes her so deadly as a support, and it's really what magnifies and has heightened my game playing her in the dual lane. So I use Harvest Nettles to poke enemies that are playing too carelessly, harass the offlaner to no end during the early game, and finish off nice nettle snipes on opponents that think they've gotten out of range. It has a wide variety of uses, and it can be, again, very devastating to use if you have that timing down and can land those shots. By mid to late game, I'm trying to use a combination of Fly Trap, the ultimate, and Bramble Patch to put a lot of crowd control into team fights. So I'm looking at any opportunity I can where there's a group of enemy players all together where I can throw down that Fly Trap, bring them all in, and hopefully my teammates are there to finish them off. That's one of the big things about timing with her, is because Fly Trap is so time sensitive, when you throw it down, you want to make sure that your teammates can be in closing distance to, be in there to try to finish off kills. And then anyone that is a straggler on the enemy team that has low health, I'm looking at opportunities to try and snipe someone with Harvest Nettles. So unlike that of my Decker or Narbash or Muriel supports builds, the Fae has a different set of utility cards to consider. I've tried the following with various degrees of success: Shockwave, Nature's Muse, Rallied the Troops. There's another one that has, I think it's Nano Drive. I believe that one is the one that does movement speed when your team is around. So, you know, my Fate game is slowly but surely improving, and I'm finding my way. I didn't want to do a full build breakdown because, again, I'm still learning, still not on the path of greatness, but I would say my last few games I'm really starting to put up some numbers with kills, assists. Still dying a little bit more than I would like to, but I'm finding my way. I'm getting in there. You know, I'm wiggling through. I'm finding it. So if there's any Fate players out there, I'm curious to know what you're doing to be successful. What does your deck builds look like? You know, what abilities are you leveling first? What do you feel like is the bread and butter of what makes you successful as the Fae? And until the next time, folks, I will catch you all later. Stay frosty.